This is Rebeca García Pinillos. I'm the founder and director of One Welfare CIC. And I'm here today with Professor Chris Rhodes. He's an author, he's an energy expert, and he's also the chair of Transition Town Reading here in England, in the United Kingdom. So we're here together to announce a new section on the One Welfare website, which is about hipopótamos and the human-wildlife conflict. We've created this in collaboration with Chris, with thanks to him. So we are launching this together with the next One Welfare moment. We are doing this every month, and this month in May, we are focusing on hippos and the human-wildlife conflict. So we are going to ask a few questions to Chris. And the first one is, where does your interest for hippos come, Chris?
It's a very good question. I would say Prague Zoo. Some years ago, I ended up going to Prague for several years, for work actually. And I visited the zoo there. And in the zoo is a family of hippopotamuses. And the baby is called Tomic. And he has the same birthday as me. Can you believe that? By coincidence. Anyway, I found them fascinating creatures. And I read about them and learned more about them and talked to people who were experts on hippopotamuses. And then I learned that they are very important in the environment. They're ecosystem engineers, keystone species, but their numbers are falling. And so if the hippos do really seriously decline, it's going to have a huge effect on many ecosystems where they live in Africa. And so I was changing a lot of stuff in my life at that time and moving more towards the environmental fields. And this really all started to align with where I was going. So that was where the interest in hippos came from.
That's really interesting, Chris. Thank you for that. What can you tell us about the book on Hippy the Happy Hippopotamus?
Well, Hippy the Happy Hippopotamus. I think he was probably based on Tomic in some way because they were sort of rattling around in the back of my head. And now I have a niece called Chloe, and she was about 4 at the time. And spending time with her, I kind of felt I'd like to write something about hippos. And I thought, why not write a little story for my niece? And I don't know, it had been rattling around in my head for probably a few years. But when the story came, I wrote it down pen and paper. It poured out in about 20 minutes. I mean, I worked on it subsequently, but there was the story. And so it sort of came from there. And I thought, well, it'd be nice to get a book, wouldn't it, from this? And I published a novel. But that took me, university shambles. That took 3 years to find a publisher. I thought, no, I want something out a bit more quickly. So I asked around, does anybody know an illustrator? And I was put in touch with a lady called Jeanette Cole. And I sent her the stories over. And about a month later, she came back with some basic drawings. And it was amazing. It was almost as though she could see the same images in her head drawing them as I could from what I'd written. And so it all came out from there. And I think it's Jeanette's beautiful illustrations, actually, that really make these books. And they draw children into the stories, into the text. And even children who are a bit hesitant about reading out loud in class, for example, they do, because they see the pictures. And the hippo facts as well, because hippos are really fascinating creatures. There's nothing like a hippo. They are absolutely remarkable. So, in a classroom setting it works, and teachers think it's wonderful that you can encourage kids to get into English and read out loud who normally wouldn't do so. But as I say, it's these beautiful pictures. But then Jeanette says, I can draw so easily from the way you've written the story. So we've made a good team, actually. So fate was waiting to put us together somehow. But that's really where it all came from. And there are other stories, of course, but that was really the start of it all.
No, thank you. That is fantastic. And I have to say that the story is really fascinating and very engaging. And the drawings, I really love them. I love Hippy. And the name, it's almost like a tongue twister, right? Hippy the Happy Hippo.
Yeah. Alliteration, isn't it? Hippy, Happy Hippo,
So it is quite cool, yeah. And then there is one more question. What would you say is the key link between the work you've done in these books and One Welfare and the connection between the welfare of animals, people, and the environment?
Yeah, okay, so One Welfare focuses on the interconnected nature of human well-being, animal welfare, and the environment. And so that's very powerful. Often these things are dealt with in isolation, but they are really one. And you start to improve one, you begin to improve all the rest of it. Well, a theme that runs through the Happy Hippo stories is that cooperation, empathy, and connection with nature are the best ways to live in a world that's changing rapidly, as this one is. And also, because the books are useful in helping children to learn English, this also fits in with the, the benefits of humans at their very, very young age. Because you have to start kids reading, start people learning to read when they're very young. Otherwise, they miss out and can end up in all sorts of social disadvantages. Yeah, there's a huge correlation with people in prison with low literacy, for example.
No, that's really helpful. So thank you so much, Chris. And well, the tab and the section in the website is now live. And well, we really would like to encourage you to check out these fascinating hippo facts and the fascinating books about Hippy. So from sunny Reading with lovely wisteria, very hippie flowery plants as well, we would like to say goodbye to all of you.
Okay, bye-bye.